Hi everyone, this is Vinny Slowiak. I am the junior high technology coach, and I'm here to talk with you a little bit about GoGuardian. GoGuardian is the new software we will be using to monitor student activities on their Chromebooks. Before we get too far, or before we begin the presentation, rather, some vocabulary that might be helpful is a scene is essentially when you want to filter out information and block websites. And a session is when you're actually monitoring student progress. So a scene, again, is when you're kind of filtering and blocking sites. A session is just when you're ready to begin monitoring what students are doing on their Chromebooks. So let's get started. So you should go to teacher.goguardian.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, you should click the Sign In button. We will be using our Google accounts, of course, our Lisle 202 email addresses in order to get signed in. And once you are all signed in, you should see a screen that looks like this. Looks a little empty. So let's add some classes. Quick shout out to Natalie here. As she was signing in for the first time, she took some screenshots and sent them over to me. So thank you, Natalie, for helping me out with this presentation. So off to the right is a Add Classroom button. Go ahead and you can click on that. And it will give you the option to create a class. If you are already synced with Google Classroom, this will link with those previously created classrooms. That's how I set up my classes. Hopefully in the future, we'll have this preloaded. But for now, this is a good avenue to explore to get your classes all in. So click Add Google Classroom. You might need to reconnect your Google account. If so, go ahead and you could click on that and allow all of these permissions. You'll then select which classes you want to add to GoGuardian. And then you're going to see a screen that looks like this. These are the classes then that you would have loaded into GoGuardian. If you click the settings button, the little gear under the class, you could change the colors of each class. You could change the names and all that kind of editing information there. Once you click into a class and you want to start a session, you'll click a green Start Session button. As you can see here as well, I've been using this for a good amount in my classes, and it actually saves all of your sessions, which is pretty valuable. I had an incident with a parent who was wondering if her child was off task during class, specifically with the device. And because I have 25 other kids in the class, and I was like, I think that he was fine. But I was able to pull up a previous session and examine and give her a definitive answer of yes, he was on task the whole time. So pretty helpful. So once you have started that session, this is just an example from one of my classes. So some of the kids were using their Chromebooks. They were supposed to be on Newsela, which so far these kids are doing pretty okay. Everyone's on Newsela, which is exciting. And if you wanted to get a closer look as to what the kids are working on, you would just go ahead and click on their screen, really, that's on here. And then it will expand, at which point you have some more options there for how to interact with this student. If you wanted to open a new tab, that's an option here over with that plus sign at the bottom. There is a lock device option that I have used before in which the student is no longer able to use the internet, and their device is kind of not shut down, but they're not able to browse at all. You'll also see what all the other tabs that they have open, and that close tab button does close out that window, which is sometimes necessary. Going back to this kind of home screen in the upper right-hand corner where it says Screens, that's your live look as to what the child is working on. You can also go to Timeline. By clicking Timeline, it will give you a minute-by-minute breakdown of what website each child is on during your class period. So you can keep this timeline up, and it's just a little ticker that'll keep moving down as time goes on. So definitely a much more detailed look, live look as to what's happening. Um, Before I get to scene status, there is an option to enable chat. If that's something that you feel is age appropriate with your kids, that is available. The chat feature, as I've used it, is only available between individual students and you as the teacher. They are not able to chat with one another. So, and I have used this before if we're working in the library space and we're kind of all spread out. Maybe I'm monitoring kids on their devices. Everyone's quietly working. A kid shoots me a quick question in a chat. I'll give a quick response and then kind of move on with our day. But that is an option that's there. So let's talk a little bit about scenes. In your session, you can click this scene button. You can also access scenes on the left-hand side of your menu under classrooms. There's an edit option here. But when you're in the middle of a session and you click it, this is what on the right-hand side is what you'll see, where it will say change scene. You can use that to create a scene as well or edit a scene. And a scene is essentially GoGuardian's version of a focused browsing. I find it to be a bit more user-friendly in that you can go into an allow mode or blocked mode. Allow mode is when you're allowing all of the standard websites that we already filter through our systems. All of those are good to go. But then you block certain websites. So if there's a distracting website that your kids are constantly going on, you can enable allow mode and only block certain websites for this session. Or you can go into blocked mode in which all websites will be blocked except the ones that you allow. So that's what I utilized here for our SSR time. So I had everything was blocked except Newsela. Kids could use the time to get caught up on their IXL. Symblue is a resource that we use here just with a bunch of links. And in this case specifically, I allowed students to listen to the audio version of Landlady. So that's why that was there. But I found scenes to be pretty helpful. So that's really the basics when it comes to GoGuardian. If you do have any questions, please feel free to let me know. My email is vslowiak@lisle202.org, SLOWIAK. And my number is 630-493-8227. I'd be happy to help you out. I am still learning and playing around with this, so if there was some feature that you felt like was important, please let me know, and I'll be sure to share it with colleagues and go from there. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope it was helpful.